Hey, I'm coming back from a trip that I took down to Brazil, and it was just a work trip. But this is the Florida Everglades. I thought I'd stop here, hook the camera up, let you guys take a look around at this vast sea of grass, they call it. This part right here is an island in the Everglades that serves as a rest area, and also there's some really cool trails that go off into the middle of, where the alligators are and everything else, and kind of spooky and scary looking, but that's what makes it exciting, right? So if you've been following along in the videos of recent, you will know that I'm in the middle of conducting an experiment that has to do with getting into ketosis if you are a person with a cancer challenge or some kind of a metabolic disease challenge. And the reason I put this together is because I get a lot of questions about how can I get into ketosis, first of all. And the second one is, how can I stay in ketosis? It's hard to do. And why do we want to be in ketosis? Well, we'll go over it again. You want to be in ketosis as a cancer patient, as a person who has cancer. For the most part, cancer cells feed off of glucose, all right? So they use glucose as their primary source for fuel. Ketones are not glucose. Ketones are more a derivative of burning fat in your body. So your fat cells that you have, or fat that you ingest.
Stay straight to take the Interstate 75.
Going home here.
Florida 84 West ramp.
Isn't that voice just so beautiful?
Now stay straight to take the Interstate 75 north ramp.
So that's the big deal, is we want to always, at least in what I follow, and if you guys have been, watching some of my videos and following along with some of the things that I do, I try to, the best way I can, to starve off the cancer and then hit it up with chemotherapy if that's what you're on. That's what I was doing for a good part of 2021, and it worked. What we did was, I say we, me and I call them my team. Even the people at the oncology center, whenever I write them, I always write "Hey team," and because it is a group effort, it really is. And what I wanted to do is to put together something that would allow everybody on board to think about starving out the cancer. And the way you do this is getting into ketosis. And why ketosis works so well is because cancer cells, for the most part, all cancer cells cannot uptake ketones as their food, as their fuel. What they can do is uptake chemicals from chemotherapy, and that's what messes them up, kills them, and shrinks them, makes them go away. So that's the whole idea there. There's nothing fancy in it. It's something I share with other people because it works for so many people. Now, if this was something that was like really off the strange path, like back there in the Everglades, I would probably think twice about sharing it with people, because I'm thinking, you're going to go through all this investment of time to see if something works, and in the end it may or may not work for you, and chances are it won't, because it's worked for so few. But this isn't anything like that. From my studies, and I've been studying this for like the better part of a year, I have found that this works in almost all cancer related applications. And the other great thing about it is that it's toxins in your chemotherapy. It's a diet, it's getting into ketosis is a dietary move, something that's a lifestyle. Actually gets to become a lifestyle because, you have to be meal planning and thinking about what you're eating, and, once you're into that state of ketosis, you want to maintain it because once you're there, your body just starts becoming more fat adapted as far as burning fuels and less carbohydrate or glucose adapted, all right? So that's the whole reason behind that. And, it's like I say, there's no magic. I've had people challenge me on all social media platforms, and it's just, it's not something that is so secret and scientific that you can't share it with other people. Now, I do offer to people to become part of a group, part of a coaching group, part of a mentoring group. And the only reason I do that is because that's what I did. I became, I hired people to help me through the different parts of what I put together as a protocol for me, because it's so doggone difficult. One of the most hardest parts for me was, sticking with a fast. That was probably the hardest thing. The diet, not so much, because, it was early on when I was diagnosed with the cancer, I found out about this clinical ketogenic diet or therapeutic ketogenic diet. And right away I go, hey, it's either this or death. What do you want to, the choice is pretty simple. So, and the foods didn't taste that bad. It was stuff I liked anyway, lots of bacon and eggs and steak and, different things that brought on a more healthy lifestyle, more natural foods, stuff that the body could use and become balanced. And that's exactly what I wanted, was become balanced. That way I knew with the miracle of this human body that things would start repairing themselves, and they certainly did. So I'm very thankful that I found that early on. Now, I found that for a lot of people, the diet is the hard part, not the fasting. They can fast. Some people can fast like crazy. Some people don't eat a whole lot of food, But for me, it was the fasting. For some people, they need somebody to hold their hand through that diet. It's like, oh gosh, what do I do next? I mean, do you think I can eat this? Do you think I can eat this much? And what do you use to weigh your food? And do you weigh it in grams, ounces? So all these things I cover. And I also get into exercise, also get into meditation, to my supplements that I use. And there is no guarantee, and there is no magical thing. It's not like a formula for cure at all. It's just what I did and what helped me, and I saw a reversal in the cancer that I had. And it's not something that I dreamt up myself. It's not something like, here, I beat cancer doing this, from like trying stuff in my kitchen. It wasn't quite like that. What I did is I went in and did the research, and did hours and hours, and hired people even to help me, because there's just so much out there on research on stuff that worked for more than one person or groups of one persons. In other words, things where a clinical trial hasn't been done yet, where they take a group of people, and group A they feed this, and group B they feed this, and then they compare the two groups. Sometimes that costs a lot of money to do that, first of all. And the other thing is there's lots of people that are doing like a group of one. They're like one person following another person, where everybody's doing like this, let's say what we do, ketogenic diet along with the chemotherapy, and they don't publish, or they publish online, they write online, maybe they do a blog or something like that. But what I'm trying to say is they do have their information out there, and you can track them down and say, okay, how did it work out for you, right? And if it's worked out for like a large group of people, you can't just throw that number out and say, well, this is, what you're doing is stupid and you might get other people in trouble. No. You have to look at it and say, okay, there may be something to this ketogenic diet along with people that have cancer, because so many, now in the case of the ketogenic diet and cancer, so many clinical trials have already been done and have proven that the ketogenic diet is beneficial for people who are suffering cancer because of the way it treats normal cells, the way it treats cancer cells, differentiates. So, getting back to the whole gist of this video about the challenge that I'm trying to figure out if I can more easily help a person get into ketosis and maintain a state of ketosis by doing certain things in their diet, or if what I'm suggesting doesn't work at all. And it may not work at all. I've only been doing it for like 2 days. Today will be day 3. And I want to report to you that if you've been listening to the videos the last couple days, you will know that what I have been doing, it's so simple. It's like taking different meals during the day, right? Now, my feeding window, as it's called, is between when I wake up, probably 6:30-ish. Most of the time, I got my alarm set up to follow a circadian clock, right? So the first light of the day is when I really want to wake up. First light of the day in Naples, Florida, for January. I'm pretty sure it's right around 6:35 right now, a.m. Sunrise happens a little bit later. That's when the sun comes up, not when the first light comes up. When the first light's like, right after dawn. Got the sun making that beautiful appearance in the east, right? Got to get my directions right. I want to say in the west. That'd be crazy. And then that'll start my feeding window. I usually don't really start eating anything until around 9 o'clock. But the whole experiment that I'm doing is stopping eating by 3 p.m. 3 p.m.-ish. I mean, if you go a little over because, of work or something else you're doing, I'm letting that slide a little bit, because I remember, where was I? Maybe I was home a couple days ago, and it was approaching like 3:20, but I thought that was okay. The whole idea, there's a couple of ideas here that I want to go through them one by one, and you can agree with me, you can disagree. It's up to you. And then you can also comment and let me know why you disagree or agree. That'd be really good. Let's have some, back and forth on this. Or direct message me if you're not somebody that writes comments for the public. But the first thing is the meal itself. Now, I saw a YouTube video, and I believe the guy's name is, I've seen him on before talking about tomatoes and the leptins in different vegetables that are toxic. And I think his name is Dr. Gundry. I'll look that up. But anyway, he was doing these videos saying that it seemed to him, in the studies that he had read or had done, that the mitochondria of the cell, that's that cell membrane that's protective of the cell, and also that's where the energy is formed, by utilizing the different things we feed it. So he was saying that studies had shown that if the mitochondria is fed a similar fuel during the period of a meal until there's no more of that meal left to feed on, which means you're done eating and you're going on to the next thing, and the the whole digestive process has stopped for that. I'm just thinking this through with the body here. I know you got the stomach and then the intestines, which they take a while also extracting nutrients from the food and giving them to the different parts of the body. Got the liver involved there, the gallbladder, bile, all that great stuff. So it takes a while for all this to get processed. But his idea was, if it's one kind of food, and in one kind I mean like this: you sit down and you're not going to mix carbs with proteins, right? There may be some of one, but the majority of what you're putting together there, let's say legumes as a meal, okay? So it'd be legumes, and you wouldn't put, for instance, chickpeas, a bunch of beans or something along with a steak, or along with high protein like chicken breast or something like that, okay? So it would just all be the chickpeas and maybe some olive oil and some other stuff on there that is not a carbohydrate type fuel, although there's carbs in chickpeas, believe me. And there's also protein in that too, but it's not like the concentrated dense source. The way he explains it is that if you're eating like all fats, like some really heavy fat stuff with not a lot of protein, that mainly involves pork, maybe pork belly, sausage that has like a lot of fat and very low protein, and things like that, right? That would be another choice. And then another choice might be maybe all like cheeses and some kind of little dip or something, but not putting in there like cut sauce, salami, and that kind of stuff. You don't want to mix those two, according to him. So I see where that may make sense, and in a way, I'm not even sure how they measure this kind of stuff. But for me, it sounds like, okay, it would probably be less of a strain. And I don't know, like I say again, I don't know how they measure this. I'm just thinking in my head here that, maybe the body doesn't even break into a sweat by dividing out all the different nutrients in the different foods, right? But he made an issue of it. Matter of fact, he's got like almost a whole video on it of like eating. It doesn't have to be for the whole day, just certain meals. Like one meal is just cuts of beef or something like that, right? Nothing else. And then not a whole lot of fat. And then the next meal, maybe you have like a lot of fat and a few things that are not high in protein as far as meats go. Some pork cuts are that way, and then some other fatty cuts of meat are that way. I'm just trying to think here, because fish, chicken, and beef are pretty high in proteins, right? So anyway, that the idea is to get where the main concentration of the energy in what you're ingesting comes from that particular thing. Either not carby, because we still want to be low carb, right? But more legumes type thing, right? And not leafy vegetables, the other kinds. And then protein would be the other one, then the fat would be the other one, right? Okay, those things. So, those are your meals. And for him, it didn't matter how much you ate. You could like really pig out on your food as long as you separated everything. So that's part of the experiment that I'm doing. I'm trying to, if I do something like go the cheese route, okay, I'm going to eat dairy, I'm going to eat cheese, but I'm not going to mix it with, any meats or anything like that. So then you have your meals, and then you have where you're going to stop feeding at 3 p.m. Now, I've said before in different videos that I swore that what kicks me out of ketosis on any given day is either overeating my proteins, usually blowing the protein macro and not following through with enough fat. Because clinical ketogenic diet or a therapeutic ketogenic diet is the 4-to-1 ratio. You have 1 protein to 4 fats, 4 grams of fat to 1 gram of protein. So it's pretty heavy duty as far as the fat goes. You're ingesting a lot of fat, but that'll keep you in ketosis. But if I didn't have enough fat and I had a lot of protein, next day when I did my GKI or my glucose ketone index reading, my ketones would be, almost non-existent. And that would be every time. But I've found that if I stop eating early enough, things change. And yesterday, I want to report to you that that would have been day 2, I think, of the experiment, right? Anyway, it's the first day that we took any measurements. I came out with on the GKI index of 6, which means you're in a moderate level of ketosis, okay? And I had eaten a lot, but I had ended the feeding window at 3 p.m. and did not start again until the next day. Now, you may be wondering, okay, where did you get this 3 p.m. thing from, and why is it important? It is important because ending early allows your intestines to completely, at least the small intestine, to completely clear itself of any foods. So during the evening, which would be, they say that the intestine usually takes about 6 hours to, digest all of it, do its thing, right? So what we're looking at is 9 p.m., right? If you stop at 3 p.m., then 6 hours later, 9 p.m., where you're starting to crank down things, getting ready for bed, getting ready for rest in the night. You're not going to have any more stuff in that intestine that needs insulin or anything else from the body. It's going to be going on to whatever the next section is, and then you're done. Okay? So it's eliminated from the body. Not going to get any more food out of that. So the beauty of that part is you're allowing your body to do everything it needs to be doing in the evening other than digesting food. And the thing that takes up the most energy in the body is digesting food. So if you eat something, insulin goes up to kind of keep your glucose level where it should be. And then the juices start flowing as far as the digestive juices. And my mom just texted me. That's why I'm distracted. Squirrel. And so that's why all these things happen and cause the body to go into a full-blown digestive cycle, which takes all of the energy away from, or at least most of the energy, okay? A great part of the energy away from repairs, healing, whatever it needs to be doing during the night, refreshing your mind, all these things that we get miraculously done each evening when we go to sleep. This happens like automatically if we set the body up for success. And the way you do that is stop eating at 3. Okay, so that's part of it. Day 2, when I took my measurements, it was a 6, and I was thrilled because after the holidays, or during the holidays, I know I was not eating to where I would be in ketosis. I just wasn't. I knew I wasn't. I had a little celebration with the PET scan that I did. It came out like great, and yeah, it's just a lot of crazy food, a lot of eating after 3 p.m. So once I started at the beginning of the year to get on track and said, I'm going to make this a challenge for myself to see if there's anything to do with the ending the window at 3 p.m. And then the other thing about the different types of meals that you eat. So putting those two together. And then after we're done with that, right, if it does continue to work, which I believe it will, I'm not sure why. There's one thing I think that I was going to mention to you and try to get your thoughts on. Do you think that because I'm not eating from 3 p.m. and taking my blood glucose reading at 8:30 the next morning, that's more than 12 hours, 13, 14 and a half hours, that maybe that's the reason why I see ketones, because of the time that I'm actually fasting. It's long. That's a pretty long time, right? Could be. A lot of people eat late at night. And in my industry, I'm just coming off a trip where I worked as a flight crew. You can see part of my uniform hanging in the window there. And these people, consistently would be eating, because we're flying during the night, be eating at 1 in the morning, 2 in the morning, which is horrifying. Plus, you're not getting a good night's sleep there, so it's bad stuff. But I'm wondering if that period of fasting in there, it has to contribute to the ketone number going up a little bit, but I'm not sure to what degree. So maybe if this thing continues to go in the positive, and we have a success in this experiment, we'll start playing around with it. We will push the window, maybe to 4, 5, 6. We'll do a 6 o'clock one, right? See if that makes a big difference. And then keep going after that. We'll go and switch up the meals instead of making them just one of the macros, like carbs or fats or protein. We'll put all 3 together, for the whole day, and see if it has anything to do with anything. Maybe. Not sure. Anyway, wanted to let you in on that. I am happy to hear that my family, anyway, and I hope your family too, had a great holidays. We're spread all over the globe, and it's just so good to hear from everybody and to hear that they had a good holiday season. And now, with this brand new year, it's exciting, right? Yeah. And man, I just can't wait to see what's coming up next. Hopefully, during this new year, we're going to be helping lots of people, and that's what I want to do. I want to reach people that have either a cancer challenge or know somebody that does. And you can reach out to me by email. Mom, I'll get right to you. Or, direct message me here, or just make it a comment here, and I'll get back in touch with you on that. All right? I do have a free 15-minute, and usually they go longer unless I have, 2 or 3 people scheduled in the day, Zoom call where you and I can get on and just talk about either your cancer challenge or somebody else's, and we can compare notes, see what's worked for you, see what has. Maybe I can share some stuff with you. And then also, I have the coaching program or the mentoring program that is not free. That part's not free. It's paid. And, if you look at the price online at Naples.Academy and you're going, oh gosh, I can't afford that right now, please contact me or somebody from my group, and we can work out. And I worked out with several people that are in foreign countries where the cost of living is very different and they can't afford in dollars what we have on the website. But then again, we don't have this like translated into all the different currencies, so it's hard to do it that way. So what we do is we just get on there, we make a special sign up page for them with a special amount, and then that's it. They pay, and then we work with them same as we'd work with a full paying person from the United States. Not to say that if you're from the United States, you may be having challenges with your finances. That's totally fine, especially people that have been battling cancer. I know, because I am one. I know how it is, and I did that and was laid off from the airline at the time, and still spend money, like pennies, everything I could find, to hire people with answers that I knew could help me out. Not all of them did. Some, I paid, how does mom say it? Paid good money and didn't see a return on it. But I promise you this is a promise I can make, that if you do any sort of investment of your finances with the coaching program or the mentoring program, it's one of the same, it's just a different way. I like calling it mentoring, because more hand-holding, accountability, I really want you to succeed type of thing. If you don't get benefit out of it, then we just return whatever you've put into it. No big deal. I just want to help you, and then I want to recoup all the stuff that we've put into. I got people that I pay today even that are helping me do research, so if, we get all these people that are in the plan chipping in, we could do great things and help reach many more people, and people that have been really helped by this, the protocol. We put together different steps, 7 different pillars in here. Some of them are just like, how come I didn't find you months ago? And it would have been more than willing to pay. I know I would have. Some things took months to find, and other things I found very quickly. And I think part of it, you may think this is a little weird, was divine. I really do. It came at the right time. I kept putting it out there, and it showed up at the right, when the timing was right, and when I was able to put it into a plan, and put it into motion in my own life. So I want that for you. All right, we are getting close to home here. Yeah, beautiful day. Nice. I think I'm going to go out and get some of that vitamin D that I see out there and soak it in. Yeah, that stuff's good for you. All right, my friend, thanks for your support. Thanks for your love. Thanks for your continued attention. And I know some of these videos go long, take up a little bit of your time. Hopefully you can play them in the background. Just listen to the audio part of it if you don't have the time to sit there and chat with me face to face. But I do look forward to your comments, and I really want to hear from you. So let me know what's going on with you. All right. Take care, and we'll see you in the next video.